Hi, JD4K family, and I'm back. So sorry for disappointing you guys with, unfortunately, my camera was doing okay and I had no audio. So now I know that my laptop has to be checked out when it comes to taping beforehand because I have four different characteristics on how I can utilize my audio. Okay, great. Thank you, moderator hubby. Blessings. Anyway, so today I was thinking and wrote some notes on this topic of bad parenting and its consequences. Now, here we go with the lighting. I know they don't want me to get this message out. And so the lighting went again. Uh, all right, I'm not sure what's going. Okay. All right, I hope you can see me. I don't know why I'm getting so. This is dark. I'm not even that dark. And I did get a tan, by the way. I'm live in the Dominican Republic on vacay. And I think my laptop is adjusting to this country. Like I was stating, I wanted to do this topic on bad parenting and its consequences on the children and the family as a whole. So I was hoping more people would join me, but since not, that's fine. You can watch this tape later. Like, share, and subscribe to the JD4K family. I also have a monthly legal taping that I do, and next month it should be evictions, landlord and tenant. All right, so now getting back to the subject on hand. Basically, when you have children and sometimes things go wrong within the family unit, which happens a lot, or even before things go wrong, you could have had an abusive mother, father, period, or things happen when there's divorces or separations, and which pretty much affects the children. And so, with each and every one of them, like abuse is something that comes from family lines and generation after generation and continues till it out spirals. It spirals out, and a lot of children are affected by it. These children grow up to also be sometimes, not all the time, to do the same things that their parents did to them or parent. And not sure what that sound is. Okay, so I'm on film and I have someone here, some type of work. But either way, what we were saying about the family. Okay. And what we were saying about family is, I wish I could see better. Okay. The family unit is that once one is affected, it can affect the children and their children and their children. So, what I have to say about that is when it comes to abuse, and you're automatically in a abusive domestic situation when you have children, when you bring these children into the world, into that type of domestic violence situation, either it'll be long lasting and effective to them in the long run because they're a part of that. And they've seen it happen, and it's continual. It will affect them, and sometimes they can be taken out of the home. And if not out of the home, then they actually see this in their daily lives as something normal and repeat the same cycles over and over again. When it comes to separating or divorcing, then parenting starts with people that have been rejected or feel rejected from their spouse or whatever. It's no excuse, but sometimes that happens. The children feel the effects and they start taking it out on the children, which eventually turns into abuse mentally or physically. And these bad parenting skills, well, it's not a skill because it's natural for some people. Well, not only does it affect the child, but in the long run, it affects the whole family as a unit. Sometimes you'll have children that they'll go to school and that people don't know what's happening in the households and what's going on. So when they do go to school, they're taking it out on their peers or they become bullies. A lot of things can happen to a child that has normal believed this was normal. That's sad that they're sad inside each and every day, and that they don't know how to go to get help or find help, because obviously if that parent was abusing or is abusive, they're not going to seek help. So why would this child know how to do that for him or herself? So sometimes these children are led to become criminals in the future, but not all of them. Um, and some are put into the system. And that's when the bad parenting is recognized the most, when these children end up being criminals or in the foster care system, and because they were either neglected, abandoned, or abused, and then they start the process over again. For instance, like let's say they want to have children, they don't think twice about, wait, do I want to have children and who am I having children with? Because I was in an abusive relationship. They don't think of things like that. Or my parents were abusive and I don't want to become a parent. Or I can become a parent, but I don't want to be like them. So these are things you got to think about before you do go out there. And even as a child that becomes an adult, you kind of like lose respect for your parents or your parent. That's a sign of bad parenting as well, because you can't find a way out of a situation and you can't have nobody to go to. So now you're looking at this parent as the reason for all your problems in the future, which is not good. Releasing this from yourself is the best thing you can do, as a child going into an adult. And parents, what you should do is if you need help, you seek counsel. You get the man or female that is abusing you or a child out of the home. There's a lot of things that can be done and should be done for the future of these children, because when they become adults, they will not only remember it but lose respect for you. There's a lot of people that play games in relationships, whether they're married or not, and then the children are a part of their game or was a part of the game from the beginning. These children grow up to start blaming one or the other parent or both. And so when they become adults, they lose respect. They use their parents for whatever means and ways they can, or they abuse them back the same way, whether it's physically or mentally. Um, that's that's something that's really prevalent, and a lot of people don't know about it. But the court system has seen these type of people, especially grandmothers that are abused by their children's children. And so I've seen it a lot when I worked in family court, and it's sad. As they become teenagers, they grow more aggressive and more violent sometimes, and this is created from bad parenting. And so these type of children need to have been told earlier by counseling, or if their teachers or someone else had actually known about it, they could have helped them during that period. But this is not done. You know, losing custody of a child is hard on a parent, and having them put in a foster care system is hard on the child. So either way, it leads to bad decisions, by our actions that we take when we have children. All one, to tell you the truth, when you have children, think about who you're having your children with. Don't rush to have children right away, especially if you're not married. Old school, yes, that probably had a lot to do with it. We should go back to the old school methods, marriage. Okay, if not, don't have children out there. Actually, celibacy is the great and safest way to be. But if you don't want that and it's your life, then make sure you don't have children. Don't ruin their lives because yours was ruined. Or don't continue the cycle of abandonment and bad parenting. And because, like I said, this can lead to actions that not only decisions and actions that affect the child in the future in the long run. It will also affect you losing your child to custody or to another parent, to the court, whatever, to grandchildren. You're going to watch your child grow outside of being with you, and you brought them into this world. So if you did that, take your responsibility and take care of them and do the right thing. I know it's easily said than done, but then you have every right not to have children as well, or to wait for the perfect timing. There's never perfect timing, but when you feel you are mature enough, capable enough, economically, socially, mentally, physically capable to be able to do so. It's not as easy as everyone thinks it is. Yes, there's going to be great days and there's going to be bad days, but that's not when you start acting like unconcerned parent. Children need your attention, your time. Yes, we all work, but with giving them a little time and attention and talking to them, is having a good relationship with them, keeping them out of problems and struggles. Ask them, how's your day? What is it that you feel that you need to talk about today, or is there anything you need to let me know? Anything. Just speak to your children. You speak to everybody else. Talk to your children like that. I mean, once they become adults, it's I think it's much easier to talk to them as adults, as two adults talking to each other, or young adults, I should say. As children, you can just make sure you make sure that relationship is bounded and that you have an actual relationship with your children. So this way, if things change and plans change and you get divorced or you move on to the next person, you never know if that next person you move on with isn't a violent, abusive person. You already have your child, so you don't want that to affect your child by bringing them into other relationships as well when things have not worked out in your first relationship, because it can affect your new relationship. Your new relationship may be the best thing that ever happened to you, and your children won't think that. They're not going to understand that. There's nothing you can do to help change their mind. But if you have a good communication skills with them and you keep that up, as people grow older, they'll understand. Well, I always was able to talk to my mom or my dad, so let me go to them and tell them what I like and what I don't dislike. But when you don't have that understanding and you never did that, you just expect them to know everything as parents. This is a crucial stake you take sometimes when you don't have that type of conversation, of grown up conversation. Even when your children are small, you start that conversation small at their age level, and it will grow into something beautiful. I have that with my sons. I'm not a perfect mom, but I did my best, and I know I made sure they were not surrounded by abuse, even though I was in domestic violence before. I definitely took them out of that. Actually, I believe my next show Saturday is going to be on domestic violence. So again, make sure you share, like, and subscribe for that, because it's going to be a good one. Back to the bad parenting. Hate people that hate. What's that saying? People that hurt other people. Yeah, that's it. People that hurt people. So when you have people like that, whether they come from the foster system and you choose to either take in foster care kids or adopt, you gotta understand these some children had bad parenting from their birth biological parents, and it's gonna take a lot of work. You don't just because I want a child, you gotta rationalize: do I want to get myself involved in this? Do I want to proceed further? And what can I do to help this child proceed to become a better person in society? And we should do that for our own children first and most of. And if we don't have children, we want children, we got to think about these things before we take them in consideration. They would be your number one consideration. Thank you. Your number one consideration, because you made the choices to either conceive a child or adopt it or foster one. So you're the person that they're going to be looking up to. And so bad parenting is the reason why they're in the system. We don't want to take them and give them another round of bad parenting. It wouldn't be fair to them and to our own children. Biological is the same thing. no matter what changes in our lives, we just want to make sure that our children are able to be the functional adults in society that we want to, like myself. Like I didn't come from the best. I was in foster care, so, and that's all I'm going to give you right now. But the rest will come out eventually. And the fact remains that when you are in foster care, people already assume and analyze that you're going to be a nobody, or, 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 or a prostitute, or a pimp, or a gangbuster, and it's not true about everyone. Sometimes things can go a different way for you because you are one of those special ones, and yes, I am, that adapted to a mindset that states, you know what? I'm not going to be like my parents were. I'm not going to do what they did. I'm not going to be who they were. I am just going to move forward and upward and make sure when I have children, I do the total opposite of the bad parenting that skills, or whatever they call it, bad parenting that I had as a child that got me into the foster care system and my sister. So that's what we've done, was the total opposite, but not everyone does that. So, and this is why this video is being made as a message that there are consequences when you do bad parenting, and those consequences can cost you a lot more than you think at that moment. It really could. So when you are going to either have a child or adopt or foster children, everything you do deserves you to question what and how and if possible. Because if you don't and you jump in and it's with the wrong individual and you don't give it time and you're rushing it, oh, I'm doing this because I want to keep him, or I'm going to get her pregnant because I want to keep her, these things don't work out in the end. Because when the violence and abuse comes in because you can't get each other, or you don't get along now and you made the mistake, oh my god, I thought I wanted him, or oh my god, I thought I wanted her, or to be with them, you already brought a child, precious child, into the world, and now you have a choice. Are you going to tear this child apart, or are you going to work together, whether separately or together, to make sure? And please, if you're in an abusive relationship, do not work together with this person. Leave, run as far as away as you can, because that person's going to need help. Definitely. So, getting back to everything, as I stated, hurt people, and everyone deserves forgiveness. But that doesn't mean that you have to have a relationship with that parent. You don't. You forgive them, you move forward, you wish them well, you move forward. Because sometimes that person is a toxic parent that won't ever change. And all you're going to do is feed into those toxic energies. Yeah, and that's not good for you as a child, because then when you become an adult, when your child becomes an adult, or the child becomes an adult, they will definitely become toxic individuals by seeing so much toxicity within relationships. They may even be at a point where they don't believe love exists. So when they see it outside of themselves and in other people, and even if their parent starts dating again with, or moving forward with someone else, they don't see love because they've never seen it before. So that's going to be kind of hard for them to even accept us. But the whole thing with that is you got to forgive and move forward and allow your child to do so and the parent to do so. In other words, if you're a child that was abused, or had bad parenting from one or the other parent, move forward, forgive, and do what you need to do to get to your place. So it's one day you might have a family, and mentally you need to get to the right place and a right space, physically and mentally. It's important not to damage, not to damage your mental state, because that can become a permanent damage and very toxic. Then you start having toxic relationships because you start feeling, wait, I know my parents were in one and they loved each other. So what happened? You don't know what happened. Don't question it. It was never about you. All I know is you have to move forward and upward so that when you become adults, even if you will be able to handle what you've been through. If you have, um, please forgive the bad parent or parents or whatever happened to you. Move forward with your life and don't blame them and then not be happy for them if they've moved forward with their lives because you're not happy they're not with your parent or another parent. It's just a constant battle when bad parenting happens and a child is brought up with, let's just say for example, your mother is angry now at your father because he's left or things didn't work out. Now you have a child they feel stuck to, but it's your child. You're not stuck to that child. Then you start toxic behaviors toward the child, whether you abuse them or not. Physically, mentally, mental is abuse. When you tell a child something, you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're not pretty, you're dumb, things like that. That's mental abuse. You don't do that just because you lost a guy or the husband or man, and vice versa. I mean, what's that going to help? What's that going to accomplish, actually? Stupidity? Because that's a toxic parent. That's a toxic parent that you can only forgive and move forward and not try to keep relationships. If your parent, one or the other, keeps talking badly about another parent, that's not the kind of relationship you want to have with a parent. You just leave it alone till they learn, till they heal, or whatever it is they need to do, because that toxicity is going on you as an individual, as the child of these parents that are toxic already, and it's not a great thing. No, I did have a few other things to say about that. Setting boundaries, yes, that's essential to healthy and clear thinking. Thank you. I'm glad I made notes. Yes, I had a show calling Setting Boundaries in Family and then Setting Boundaries Within Your Workplace. You could go back and check those out on my channel. They're very good, I think. And hopefully, I'll get enough people as I go on because I'm still going to get the message out regardless. When you all see it, come and join me live on a day that at 3 o'clock every Saturday, God willing. Come and join and we could talk about it. Spill the tea. The tea meaning the truth. Spill the tea and let me see how you feel about it. And if you don't want to go on live, you can always comment in my comment box below. I'll get back there online. I check all the time. You can email me. I'll answer your question. You know, what I present in my shows is part of my experiences within the New York State court system, within my own and within other people and family members I know and don't know. Just in general, I have the ability, like most people, to see things, address it, and then see that it needs to be talked about. And once you talk about it, you might be able to relieve a lot of stress, you know, together as a group, as a JD4K family. That's what we're here for, Soul Tribe family. Come and join me live every Saturday at 3. Let me see if I have the setting up boundaries is really something interesting because I know when you have toxic family members or, like I said, parents, you got to set boundaries where you don't allow them to attack your energies with bad vibes. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to have good vibes. I've learned how to take care of not allowing certain people in my space any longer. And that doesn't mean I'm better than you. It's just that I don't do the gossiping no more. I don't have time to talk about people all day. Don't call me. I love you. A good vibe sent your way all the time. But I'm not in that position. I just, those days are dead for me. I learned lessons about listening to people and I'm taking in those energies of chaotic energies only makes it not as good as, it doesn't make you feel good about talking about people all day and wanting to do things to people. I don't want to hear things like that. So I try to keep my good energy vibes going. So if you come here, bring good energy with you. If you can't do so, no problem. Watch my tapes, and maybe you'll learn good energy because it's out there. Bring in the light, leave that dark out of here, girl. I don't like dark, and I don't mean color of people because some people get me wrong. What I mean is I like bringing light and love and blessings, and not the opposite. In case you didn't know what that meant. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up in a second. Uh-uh. No. All right. Oh, it's my favorite time of the day. 333. All right. So basically, everyone deserves the forgiveness. Like I said, set your boundaries. Boundaries need to be set with everyone. Okay. Um, for your mind's sake, for your mental ability, um, for all the things that you need to keep your self respect, your self love, self care. Losing respect for parents when the children become adults is really hard, and you do not want them to lose respect for you. You want to be able to share with your grandchildren. God willing, you have grandchildren, their marriages and stuff like that. You don't want to be behind the scenes saying, I wish my parents could have been in my wedding. I wish my daughter would have invited me to her wedding, or son. No, it's not worth it. In the long run, just check yourselves. Make sure that you're doing the right thing and not just going out there roaming around with anybody. If that's the case, don't get pregnant. Please, please save the world. Don't do us a favor and don't. Okay? It's better off than aborting one, which is not. I have nothing against people who do what they need to do. It's your body, you do what you want to do. But this is way better than making a mistake and finding out, oh my God, I made the wrong choices, I made the wrong mistakes, and now this child's going to pay for it? No. Anyway, I hope to see you soon, and I wanted to end it with that. I'm going to go over my note one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, okay, and don't allow your parents' past mistake to dictate your future. That's really important. I took that note down when I thought about that because I'm one of those children that was in the system, board of the state as a foster child because of bad parenting. And I said, I am not going to allow my biological parent mistake, who I forgive, um, dictate who I'm going to be. And I think everyone needs to know that for themselves because that and doesn't dictate my future either, because just because you had an absentee parent, or just because one or the other wasn't there, or absentee parents, doesn't mean that you have to repeat the same mistake over and over again. There are repercussions for these actions if you do, and it also has to deal with generational repercussions because we seem to have this cycle of continuing doing the same thing over and over. Well, I extended my stay a little bit. I loved it. This was a great talk. Hopefully, one day soon, because I'm going to keep going with the message. You can come and spill the tea on this channel with me, Judge Desire for Knowledge. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you live next Saturday at 3 o'clock. I think I'm doing domestic violence. All right? Ciao now. Have a great one. Go get your water. And let's spill the tea next week. Let's talk about it.